Bloodborne is infamous for its high difficulty. Every enemy in the game is out to get you, from the big ones to the ugly ones. Basically, most bosses are recreations of our worst nightmares. And this is when your trusty weapon comes in. With the right choice and investments, you turn from a weakling victim to the world of Bloodborne to the nightmare itself, where you dominate and become in the top of the food chain. In this video, I present to you the top 10 weapons of Bloodborne. After spending countless hours playing with every single weapon in the game and asking dedicated people in the community about their opinions of the best weapons, I present to you my list of the top 10 weapons of Bloodborne. So ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, we're in for a ride.
Pursue the echoes of blood, and I will channel them into your strength.
A hunter must hunt. Prepare yourself for the worst.
We are, after all, fellow hunters, and tonight we hunt.
When the frail of heart join the fray, the hunter becomes the hunted.
Only an honest death will cure you now, liberate you from your wild curiosity.
Tonight, Gammon joins the hunt.
Every hunter has a beast lurking within them. I am that beast.
Unending death awaits those who pry into the unknown.
The Bloodletter. Assassins always pick deadly weapons, and the Bloodletter is Brador's weapon of choice. And Brador is a healing church assassin, so this weapon shouldn't be taken lightly. It is found after killing Brador, just before the research hole in the DLC. The Bloodletter is unusual in that it does not fit with any other weapon category, since it's a blood-tinged strength weapon, and we never had a strength blood-tinged weapon before the DLC, and that's why it's unusual. When the weapon is one-handed, it is a mace that exclusively scales off strength, so Blood Tinge won't affect the damage of the mace, only strength. The mace is extremely fast and versatile, plus it deals extreme damage, especially compared to its size. You know what they say, great things come in small packages. The two-handed version scales off Blood Tinge exclusively. It is very long, so the range on it is incredible. It's very fast and you can actually spam this weapon effectively since it consumes little amount of stamina. The most notable thing in this mode is definitely the L2. It's an area of effect attack that makes you almost immune to getting stunned, but with the negative effect of getting frenzied. To bypass the frenzy, equip the rune that increases your frenzy resist or wear Jura's armor. When you do that, you'll have one of the best moves in the game against multiple opponents. It one-shots most things and hits everywhere around you, so make sure to use this if you are planning to use a Bloodletter. If you want to see a more in-depth video about the Bloodletter, make sure to click the annotation on screen or link in the description. I have done a review for every weapon on this list, so I will add a similar annotation to this with each weapon on this list in case you want to know more about the weapon. only thing stopping this weapon going higher on this list is the nature of the build, which is difficult to create, so that's why it's number 10 on this list. Sometimes, fighting from the luxury of range is all you need, but that's not the only thing the almighty Beast Cutter can do. Other than its ridiculous range, the Beast Cutter can dish out serious amount of damage, so it offers both brute force coupled with the best range in the game. It is technically the first weapon you find in the DLC, so you can get your hands on it fairly early in the game. It specially excels in crowd control. When transformed, the whip-like attacks hit multiple targets horizontally, which makes some difficult areas much easier to traverse. Also, true to its name, the Beast Cutter inflicts extra damage to beasts, 20% extra damage to be exact. Since most enemy encounters are beasts, this weapon truly makes some tough enemies become a joke. You can buff it with fire paper, which beasts are also weak to, making this weapon truly a Beast Cutter. The Beast Cutter is mainly a strength weapon that deals blunt damage exclusively. Alternatively, you can use the threaded cane for range if you want a skill weapon. It has a range but with lower damage, albeit much faster, so it focuses on range and speed instead of range and damage, which adds more player choice and depth and more variation in playstyle. Just remember that the Beast Cutter is kinda slow, so plan ahead of time on how you're gonna be tackling your opponents with it.
Welcome to the Hunter's Dream. This will be your home for now. The moon is close. It will be a long hunt tonight. Heed the message of your forebears. Farewell, my keen hunter. Now I will show you mercy. Unshackle me, please. Anybody.
The dream, O little ones, O fleeting will of the ancients, let him find comfort, and let this dream, his captor, foretell a pleasant awakening.
The Burial Blade, Gehrman the First Hunter's weapon of choice. This alone is enough to put this weapon on this list. Screw objectivity when it comes to this, really. Gehrman might as well be one of the best boss fights in all of game history. Such an epic boss, everything about this guy is cool. From his theme, to the story, to his design. The Burial Blade is a curved sword when untransformed and a scythe when transformed. It inflicts both physical and arcane damage. However, don't ever try to use it with pure arcane build or arcane gems, as no matter what you put and what your stats are, it will never ever deal good damage in that way. It's a skill weapon, but strength can still increase the damage a bit too. The coolest thing about this weapon is its deceptive range. It hits much further than people expect, especially on that charged R2, which is arguably one of the best charged R2 attacks in the whole game. Another cool thing about the Burial Blade is that it has the highest rally potential in the game. Rally potential is how much HP you get back while regaining HP from attacking enemies. This comes in handy when fighting bosses, since this rewards aggressive players generously. If you couple this with the Guidance Rune, which increases rally potential, you can basically heal without ever using a blood vial. Of course I'm exaggerating, but still it's very close to the truth. To get this weapon, you must obtain the badge after killing Gehrman. You can quit the game as soon as you obtain it if you want to keep using it in the same NG cycle you'll be at that moment. A good alternative weapon to the Burial Blade is definitely the Church Pick. Only the worthy can use this weapon effectively, so just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good, unless you are one of Gehrman's pupils. Then that's a different matter.
Oh, I know very well how the secrets beckon so sweetly. Only an honest death will cure you now. Liberate you from your wild curiosity.
The Kos Parasite might just be the most unique weapon in Bloodborne. Other than transforming to the trolley troll broccoli man, you can attack with your tongue, spit poison from your mouth, blow shit up, move like you just been butt screwed, and most importantly, you freaking look ridiculous. Putting aside the jokes, the Kos Parasite can be found after killing the last boss in the DLC, which by the way is the only instance in Bloodborne where you directly take a weapon after defeating a boss. It is the only weapon in the game that is pure arcane right off the bat. It has S scaling in arcane when fully upgraded, which was unheard of before the DLC. So, the optimum way to use the Kos Parasite is with an arcane build, which means you should have a minimum of 40 to 50 arcane, and you should make use of the hunter tools or spells to enhance your arcane build and become much more effective. When you first obtain the Kos Parasite and then equip it, you will find yourself using your fists, but with more damage since it inflicts arcane damage now. But in order to use the Kos Parasite in its full potential, you have to finish Saint Adeline's quest in the DLC in order to obtain the Milkweed rune. After you equip the rune, you will turn into Lumenwood, or Broccoli Man, and you'll be able to use the Kos Parasite in its full glory. The Kos Parasite hits very slowly, but has unique traits to counterbalance this. It has one of the best stun potential in the game, and you can get a lot of hyper armor with its attacks. In case you don't know what hyper armor is, it means that when you get hit while you're in attacking animation, you won't get stunned, so you can trade hits with opponents like a freaking boss. The Beast Cutter has hyper armor in many of its attacks too. Same goes to the Bloodletter's L2 attacks. The L2 attack on the Kos Parasite when in transform mode is mental. It costs 2 bullets and you will unleash an AoE arcane explosion which can hit up to 4 times. All of this is coupled with the highest tier of hyper armor in the game. Only few things can stun lock you at this point. People usually have a difficult time choosing their gems on this weapon. My advice is always use percentage based gems such as plus 18% increase on arcane, because only percentage based gems will let your gems damage multiply with the weapon's multiplier. Flat based gems such as plus 20 arcane damage won't be included in the multiplier equation. If you still don't understand what I mean, let's say the one-handed R1 on the Kos Parasite has a multiplier of 2 and you have 100 damage on your weapon. This means that 100 times 2 will equal 200 damage. Let's say you put 20% arcane gem up. Your damage will go up to 120 and now it is 120 times 2, so you will deal 240 damage. If you put plus 20 flat arcane damage, it will not be put in the equation, so it will still be a multiplication of 100 times 2, which is 200, and then the 20 arcane damage is added. That means you'll be dealing 220 damage. That's of course if we ignore armor. So always use the arcane percentage up gems, and when you use the flat ones there's only one gain. Although you'll do less damage, the L2 attack, the explosion AoE, will actually deal more damage with the flat damage increase. If you want to know how to farm the best gems in the game, make sure to watch this video on the annotation above or in the link in the description below. I hope this cleared things up for you in regards to the Kos Parasite. So, hunt in cooperation with your fellows, your broccoli men confederates. The night brims with defiled scum and is permeated by their rotten stench.
Moon-scented hunter, ruler of the vile bloods, and sworn enemy of the church. What is it thou'rt in search of? Partake of my rotted blood, and take oath against the church. Drink deep of our blood. Feel the spreading corruption burn. For the honor of Canehurst.
The Chikage, a vile blood weapon, wielded by the royal guards to protect Annalise, queen of the vile bloods. The Chikage is one of two weapons that use the power of blood to make it much more death dealing, the other being the Bloodletter. It also functions like the Bloodletter, meaning that the two modes it has scales with different stats. The untransformed scales with skill, and the transformed mode scales with blood tinge. The transformed mode has better scaling, so it makes sense to have blood tinge in order to use the Chikage in its maximum potential. The transformed mode on the Chikage is insane. It has the speed and the power to deal with any enemy in the game. It has a counterbalance though. When using the transform mode, your HP gradually decreases at the rate of about 0.85% of your HP per second. Without this, it will definitely become kinda overpowered, but the HP loss isn't that bad if you tactically switch between the modes at the right moments. Another cool trait of the Chikage is that it has built-in rapid poison in its transform mode, which is sweet. Rapid poison is the equivalent of bleed in Dark Souls, in case you don't know. When it comes to the gems, physical damage gems actually increase both physical and blood tinge damage, which is unique but understandable in order to make it much more convenient for players. The same case goes to the Bloodletter, but on the flip side, you can still create a pure blood tinge Chikage, but it requires you farming out of shape gems, which means it can literally take you weeks to farm these gems, so it is not realistic to go that route. The Chikage hits hard and is nimble and agile, and gives you access to the most powerful firearms in the game, so use it in your own discretion, my fellow hunters. The Soul Cleaver, Soul Spear, and the Beast Hunter Safe. Brother in arms. I put these together because they are very similar in nature and they only differ slightly to each other. The Soul Cleaver leans to strength, while the Soul Spear and the Beast Hunter Safe lean towards skill. But to use these weapons optimally, have between 40 and 50 in both strength and skill. I would like to think of these weapons as beginner friendly, as they are easy to use and spam friendly. Especially that they consume minuscule amounts of stamina. The Soul Cleaver and the Soul Spear both deal 20% extra damage to beasts in their untransformed mode, while the Beast Hunter Safe doesn't. When these weapons are fully optimized with gems, with conjunction to the right stats, they truly become disgusting. They are flat out overpowered when used right. The DPS on them is unparalleled, and they can also be buffed with Fire Paper or Bolt Paper, further enhancing their deadly lethality. They are particularly dangerous in PvP, especially the Soul Spear. The Soul Spear, I think, can be argued that it is the strongest weapon in PvP in the game due to its speed, damage, and its broken hitbox, especially on its transformed attacks. I would like to think of the Soul Cleaver and the Soul Spear as the spam weapons, while the Beast Hunter Safe as the tactical weapon, but all of them excel when using their transformed attacks. They are quick, far-reaching, and stun-lock most enemies in the game, so make sure to make use of these attacks. All in all, these weapons are fit for any situations, and their adaptive playstyles make them very dangerous in the right hands.
Guiding Moonlight. You were at my side all along.
The legendary Holy Moonlight Sword, ladies and gentlemen. This weapon is FromSoftware's signature weapon in almost all of their games. It predates Demon Souls, which means that it means a lot to the developers of Bloodborne. This recurring weapon is beloved by many fans, including myself. The Holy Moonlight Sword can be found after defeating Ludwig the Accursed. Its description reads as follows: when blue moonlight dances around the sword and it channels the abyssal cosmos, its great blade will hurl a shadowy light wave. The Holy Moonlight Sword is synonymous with Ludwig the Holy Blade, but few have ever set eyes on the Great Blade, and whatever guidance it has to offer, it seems to be a very private, elusive sword. People actually theorize that the Ludwig's Holy Blade is an offshoot of the Holy Moonlight Sword way before the DLC, and they were 100% right. I like how Ludwig regains his sanity and consciousness when he wields the Holy Moonlight Sword. Does the light emitting from it is what brings back his sanity? Also, the way he talks to the weapon seems as if he is talking to a person or an entity. When I first played him, I thought that maybe some sort of great one lives inside the blade, but who really knows? So looking at the weapon, the Holy Moonlight Sword is mainly a strength arcane weapon, but the blade also has a moderate skill scaling. It has the best split damage in the game because it scales amazingly with arcane. It inflicts both physical and arcane damage on both of its modes, but when transformed, the arcane damage multiplier increases significantly. The special attacks on the Holy Moonlight Sword, which can be performed when transformed by using the R2, backstep R2, running R2, jumping R2, and the special L2 attack. They all consume one bullet, which is great if you ask me. The special projectiles inflict only pure arcane damage, so will be dependent on your arcane stat. There are many ways to play with the Holy Moonlight Sword. You can either use it for physical damage by having both strength and skill coupled with physical up gems, or have physical and arcane together by having strength and arcane and using nourishing gems, which increases both damage types. If you were very high level, you can have everything together, and at this point it will exceed the 1000 damage mark, which makes it one of the highest damage weapons in Bloodborne. Playing with it with only arcane is doable, but not recommended, as you will do much less damage with your attacks, and only your projectiles can gain advantage in this way. The Holy Moonlight Sword is epic in every aspect, and as such, it will only choose a worthwhile hunter who will take it to the darkest depths of Bloodborne where there is no moonlight.
The Healing Church worked and forged weapons in their unique workshop.
Are my church hunters the honorable Spartans? I hoped they would be. Even in this darkest of nights, I see the moonlight.
Ludwig's Holy Blade, a healing church weapon employed by Ludwig himself, the first hunter of the church. Oh man, I will never forget the first time I laid my hands on this weapon. Its design and looks are just super awesome. But with time, I learned to hate that bastard due to its repetitive moveset and being the most common weapon used by players in the game. But these two reasons are not what made me truly hate this weapon. Its lethality in PvP is just ridiculous. It is the only weapon in the base game that can 2 or even one-shot people. So only objectivity made me put this at number 3. And of course, because it also has the highest damage in the game, period. The Ludwig's Holy Blade can be purchased from the merchant shop in the Hunter's Dream after obtaining a badge in a chest right before Upper Cathedral Ward. It is a quality weapon, which means it scales greatly with both strength and skill. It has B scaling for both, but you will gain more damage from the skill stat, even though it shows that they both have equal scaling. When you have strength and skill at around 40 to 50, this thing hits very hard, like the hardest weapon in the game. But of course most of its attacks are slash damage, so enemies with high slash damage resistance might not receive as much damage. Its transform mode attacks stun locks almost everything in the game, but they do consume a lot of stamina, so stamina management is key when using this weapon. So, as the highest damage weapon in the game, Ludwig's Holy Blade might just be the most casual weapon in the whole game.
Sentence these fiends to death with the help of your League confederates. Hunt in cooperation with your fellows, your League confederates.
Cross the gaps between the worlds and engage in jolly cooperation. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father.
All vermin are to be crushed. The night brims with defiled scum and is permeated by their rotten stench.
The Whirligig San, hands down the best PvE weapon in Bloodborne and arguably the best strength weapon too. The Whirligig San can be found early in the DLC and you should grab it if you are planning to have a strength character. It is wielded by...
I am Volta, Master of the League.
He is the closest we know of from FROMSOFTWARE games that resembles Solaire from Dark Souls 1. He wears a similar helmet and also has a co-op driven covenant same as Solaire. The main difference between the two is maybe Solaire seems to be much more chilled, while Valter is way over the top, but I really like both, although Valter never reached legend status like Solaire. So back to the Whirligig Saw, although it's mainly a strength weapon, it does have average scaling to skill, so it is by no means exclusive to strength. So if you are planning to play optimally with it, then having between 40 and 50 in both strength and skill is the best way to go. I don't think there is a situation where this weapon cannot excel. They brought together the best of two worlds. They brought the brute force and absolute power and damage of the strength class and mixed that with the agility and speed of the skill class. Then they decided to give it the ability of shredding enemies like the Logarius Wheel. So the Whirligig Saw is just fantastic in every aspect. The Whirligig Saw is one of the most adaptable weapons. You can make a legit poison build with it due to its shredding ability. The shredding attacks are extremely dangerous in both PvE and PvP. The most notable of these attacks is the transformed L2 attack. If you hold L2, you will keep shredding until you consume all your stamina. This attack is arguably the best in the whole game. The transform mode grants you 20% extra damage against beasts. Plus, this weapon can be buffed, so let's say you use Fire Paper and Beast Pellet while fighting a beast, then you proceed attacking it with the L2 attack, which by the way, has one of the highest stun potential in the game. You will wreck that beast in record speed. It is basically easy mode. There are many other great strength weapons that I wish I had a place on this list, but good alternatives are the Kirk Hammer, Logarius Wheel, and the Hunter Axe. I truly believe these weapons do compete in other aspects in regards to the Whirligig Saw. When it comes to the gems for the Whirligig Saw, it just needs physical gems up, so it's an easy weapon to deal with when equipping gems. The best setup for it is similar to most other physical attack weapons in the game. You either put the 27.3 physical up gems, which are the best in the game, or you put two of these with one cursed heavy abyssal gem. Moreover, the Whirligig Saw is one of the best weapons to change to arcane because of its high scaling in arcane. Plus, you can transform it to inflict fire, which when coupled with 20% extra damage to beasts, you become a monster, and you will wreck most bosses with ease. I think it surpassed the Ludwig's Holy Blade in this aspect, since the Ludwig's Holy Blade was the best candidate for arcane builds before the DLC. All in all, the Whirligig Saw might have easily took number 1 on this list. You just can never ever go wrong with it. Oh, the Rakuyo. Oh, Lady Maria. Oh, FROMSOFTWARE. It's like someone in FROMSOFTWARE thought that doing a weapon with the most fun and fluid combo is a great idea, which it is, of course, but then the person proceeded to create the most overpowered weapon we have ever seen in the Soulsborne series. It's like the person thought, how can he surpass the Chaos Blade, Ice Rapier, Iron Twin Blade, Claymore, Gold Tracer, and all the previous katanas and longswords from the Dark Souls series. The Rakuyo is just the best weapon ever made by FROMSOFTWARE, period. And guess what? I don't mind it at all, because my favorite character and boss in the game wields the Rakuyo, and that is Lady Maria. Oh, Lady Maria. I love her so much. Of course, not in that way, but if there is a real Lady Maria out there somewhere, then please let me know. If she wants to walk around in my house with a bloodied sword and blade, I don't mind that at all, darling. As long as you're like Lady Maria, I'll do anything for you, baby. So putting aside the jokes, the Rakuyo can be found in the well in the DLC, where Lady Maria presumably threw the weapon there. It is a pure skill weapon, so it is very easy to create a build and incorporate this weapon with it. They innovated a lot when it comes to the Rakuyo. You have similar combos to fighting games, like for example executing R1 R2 L2 or R2 R1 L2 or even R1 L2 R2. This was almost unheard of before the Rakuyo existed. The L2 alone is one of the best attacks in the game. It's a spin attack that can be chained with another spin attack by pressing L2 twice. You also gain a ton of hyper armor when performing this attack, which makes this attack flat out overpowered. If you are using the Rakuyo with the best gems in PvP and you're winning a lot, that's not because you're skilled, it's just the weapon being overpowered. And this weapon is already frowned upon in the PvP community when it's fully optimized, especially that it is very fast, plus having a broken hitbox that seems to extend way more than the weapon model. If the Rakuyo did not exist, I think the Blade of Mercy would have taken the #1 spot, but unfortunately the Rakuyo exists, and as such, it took the #1 spot. So the Rakuyo is fierce and powerful, on top of being the most combo-driven weapon in Bloodborne, which also adds a layer of fun that can't be replicated with other weapons in the game. So thank you, Lady Maria, for blessing us with this abomination of a weapon, and may the wrath of Mother Kos guide you. There is one thing I really like about Bloodborne, and that is all weapons are viable, especially with the make or break system of gems that can transform any weapon beyond powerful. My point is that this list is my preference and nothing is written in stone. If you want to get into Bloodborne PvP, I really recommend you watch this video that I made recently, or if you want just to have a few laughs, you can watch the other one. I also appreciate it if you check out Sanad SK's channel. He helped me in the creation of this video. Dark Souls 3 is around the corner, and in case you don't know, I started my YouTube channel with Dark Souls 2 content, so my most ambitious endeavor on YouTube will be when Dark Souls 3 comes out. Some pictures were released for it recently, and it looks like it's going to be an epic journey which I cannot wait to share with you guys. I'll really appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and maybe join the community on this channel. It's growing at a rapid pace and you don't want to miss out on my future videos. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.